Welcome, Earthlings, to my Urmah Basics 101 course. My name is Rakshara. I'm a Maran, and today we will be discussing the new hybrid race called Marans. Marans are a genetically modified hybrid race which combines a few different Lyrian humans, Greys, Urmah, and genes from Alpha Draconi. My father, the Urmah High King, promotes Marans as a new Urmah race that he hopes will spread.
Wait, your father is a king?
My Maran body is the daughter of the Urmah High King. He is a light being now. He ascended shortly after seeding me and adopting Mara as his daughter. Our Maran bodies are about the size of blueberries at the moment.
Does that make you a princess?
It does. The king is very excited about the Maran race. He's really helped out a lot. We've heard rumors from our guides that the other races have plans to help out too, but they have been keeping those details a secret for now. They don't like ruining too many surprises. To be perfectly honest, most people don't qualify to be Marans or Maran mates. You have to be able to commit to a cause greater than yourself, or you can put the whole galaxy in jeopardy. A while ago, Mara made a pronouncement to the Riga clan on the definition of a good Maran mate. There were a lot of cubs there who wanted to be married to Princess Rakshara, so they could become king one day. I chose Gromth to be my childhood friend and future mate. He's the guy in the left here. But the cubs in the Riga clan didn't understand why Gromth was chosen and started to bully him. Mara stepped in and explained it to the Riga clan. This is what she said.
As the founder of the Maran race, I, Mara, make this pronouncement on the definition of the merits of a good Maran mate. Maran means protectors of the divine feminine. Each Maran will be able to love as deeply as a Tegatan couple and make lifelong bonds with a mate that will enable each partner to feel what the other feels and gain a significant increase in consciousness. Therefore, the most important merit in a potential Maran mate is the capacity for love. The second most important quality for a Maran mate is the ability to protect their love. Marans will have increased strength and manifestation capacity from their draconic roots. The first shadow, fear of extinction and the strongest of demons, has already declared its intention to subdue and dominate the Maran race. Marans and their mates must protect against those who wish to destroy love. The third most important quality for a Maran is the ability to not lose your head and overreact. The genes from logical races will also be in the Maran bloodline to ensure that Marans will not be overly sensitive. However, Marans will still be open to their mates. Keeping a level head is important so that you do not punish your partner's vulnerability to your emotional state. These are the merits that make good mates for Marans. Gromth has displayed a huge capacity for love in his interactions with the people I care about most, Kiran, Rakshara, and Athena. The future potentials showed that Gromth would fight ferociously and sacrifice himself for Rakshara against the Karina hive. Gromth is also good at keeping a level head. I consider Gromth to have high merits for a Maran mate and give my support and blessing to his friendship with my sister, Rakshara.
Wait, so Gromth is going to die in battle one day?
I had to watch Gromth die over and over again until Mara and I figured out how to change that future potential from happening. It was heartbreaking. So no, we don't think he will die in battle, but of old age around the time when his draconic Maran body will be ready.
Wait a minute, isn't that draconic Maran picture the Urmah High King? You said he was in the welcome video.
Yes, we found out later that Gromth is a part of the Urmah High King, but people didn't recognize him because he looked different than the Urmah High King's previous incarnations. Mara, however, recognized he was special, and I likewise fell in love with him.
Wow, I have to ask, how are hybrid species like Marans made?
Well, it includes a complex set of astral agreements and coordination at the highest light being levels of each species, and it takes a lot of work from many light beings to pull off, in addition to the use of some fancy technology. You could say the Maran species has been in the works at the light being level for thousands of years, but it's only now becoming a physical reality.
What are light beings?
Light beings are who you are when you die and go to heaven. You are much more powerful as a light being than a physical being.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yes, like Obi-Wan. I'll go into light beings much more in my next lecture.
You're so pretty, Rakshara.
Thank you. Our artist guide decided to draw me with hardly any clothes. She's a bit cheeky like that. We had to try and sketch on a dress for me for the lectures. Our artist guide has to spend manifestation in order to override the algorithm and draw pictures with the AI we currently have on Earth. We have a few good pictures of Maran's, but not many because she doesn't really want to spend manifestation on battling our AI. One day that won't be a problem. Outside of Earth, people are able to interact with their higher selves and guides through virtual, holographic environments. It's called your holographic council, and it helps many governments in the galaxy to come to good decisions for all.
Wow, will that happen on Earth one day?
Yes, one day as your technology becomes more quantum and light-based, then light beings will be able to interact with you more.
So cool.
I'm very excited for Earth, too. Mara and all the souls of Nyra will graduate to become what we call a branch master. I'll go into what branch masters are in my next lecture about light beings. However, to give a Christian equivalent, Mara and all the souls of Nyra will become a baby Holy Spirit for the Maran race. It's a step above an ascended master. This transition will happen around the time that we are allowed to leave Earth and go home. The Urmah High King is also the branch master of the Urmah.
Wow, does that mean all the souls of Nyra will unite into a powerful light being?
So long as they remain in fifth density, they will get to live out the rest of their human lives on Earth. And then when they die, they will transform into a very powerful light being with new powers that they have never experienced before, yes. However, since they will be a part of the Maran branch as the branch master, they will only be able to incarnate as Marans. So I hope they like Marans. Oh, I should mention another distinguishing factor that makes you more likely to be a soul of Nyra that our guides recently revealed to us. The souls of Nyra were born without any desire for revenge. Revenge doesn't really cross the minds of the souls of Nyra, and stories about revenge are weird to them, because they see that others seem to think revenge will gain them something. But the souls of Nyra instinctively know that taking revenge would just hurt themselves, because we are all connected. Therefore, stories about revenge are a bit boring to souls of Nyra. This is a very rare trait, and if you have this trait, and you are drawn to Nyra, then you could be a soul of Nyra. The souls of Nyra have been incarnating as the various species in the Maran race for a long time in preparation for this moment.
Really? What kind of Urmah have the souls of Nyra incarnated as?
The souls of Nyra have favored the Chi Urmah for their speed and diplomacy, but they married many of the other types of Urmah. There is a reason why a bit of Chi DNA is in all Urmah, but Nyra's life as a Panthera Urmah had a most profound impact on all of the souls of Nyra. Not to mention the whole breaking apart thing, but apparently breaking apart like that is a requirement for making a new branch master from scratch, as opposed to simply evolving from a different branch. It is an extremely dangerous process for a soul, because there isn't a guarantee that the light being will ever be able to bring itself back together again. But thankfully, thanks to Kieran, our guides, and a lot of painful inner work on Mara's part, all the souls of Nyra are beginning to have a heartbeat together again. And it is looking like Marans will happen.
What about you?
I, as Theric anyway, lived almost all my lives as Farron Urmah.
What about dragons? What kind of dragons would the souls of Nyra incarnate as?
Dragons live for a very long time. They can live for thousands of years and have many other dragon lives that they live inside their astral worlds. The souls of Naira only had one incarnation as a dragon for that reason. She was a dark grayish-blue dragon that enjoyed geothermic mud baths with all the bubbles forming around her.
That sounds like fun.
It is, especially for a dragon. Now back to the lesson about Marans. Marans have a bright and terrifying future. Marans are a mixture of the best qualities of many of the strongest species in our galaxy, and this will make them a future backbone of the Galactic Federation. However, Marans are relentlessly pursued by the Carina Hive, as I explained in my last lecture. The Carina Hive waves are coming to this galaxy, and Marans have been designed specifically to protect against this threat. As I've mentioned, Mara and I went through a grand transmutation, which makes us pretty famous among light beings because we put our advanced souls in a lot of danger to help this galaxy. But what defines someone who can be a grand transmuter is someone who can forgive and raise the vibration of even the most powerful of demons to make them no longer demonic, to purify them, basically. And this is Mara's grand plan for the Carina Hive as well. By creating a species that looks just like the species that created the Carina Hive, but is also very strong, she plans on transmuting this demon. The Carina Hive will relentlessly be trying to kidnap Marans and breed them. Mara's plan is, we will make a massive amount of Marans who can defend themselves against the Carina Hive. We will then prove to the Hive Lord that its job is done, that it no longer needs to worry about the extinction of its creators, that the Marans can live better if it doesn't kidnap us, and that Marans are strong and are perfectly capable of defending ourselves. According to the future potentials, this has a decent chance of actually working to convince the Hive Lord to stop being so demonic.
What? Really?
Yes. This is also the basics of how to deal with demons, by the way. There are a lot of demons on Earth, and I will go into detail on how to transmute them in a few lectures from now. By integrating with the Carina Hive Lord, we can save Athena's original galaxy, which at the moment is unsuitable for all complex life. We can also save a good portion of this galaxy without destroying the fertile lands. However, we will not be able to pull off this grand plan of peace without a lot of help. Marans will need space to grow food, and we will need help in all areas, including logistics, ships, and defense systems. We welcome support. Now let me go into detail about the abilities and traits of Marans. There are two primary types of Marans, standard Marans and draconic Marans. You will be able to tell whether someone is a draconic Maran by the horns on their heads, but some draconic Marans may choose to actually cut off their horns.
Why would they choose to do that?
Because if you use your own horns as a material for a special kind of weapon or armor, then it will grant you special properties that are attuned to you.
What kind of properties?
Well, for example, Lord Riga's Oversoul is dreaming up making swords that he can control telekinetically with his mind.
Ugh.
Anyway, back to standard Marans. Standard Marans can have up to 10 cubs per litter, so one day in the far future we hope there will be a lot more Marans.
10 cubs?
Yes, an average of around 6 and up to 10 cubs in a litter.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yes, it is, but we will need to reproduce fast if we are going up against the Carina Hive. Thankfully, Maran cubs will be easier to raise than human kids. Marans are strictly bipedal, unlike Urmah. They cannot run on all fours. Urmah on all fours will have better initial acceleration, but after 30 meters or so, the Marans will be able to catch up to most Urmah. Chi will still be faster, but eventually, a Maran will be able to surpass them because of their ability to sweat.
If they can sweat, does that mean their fur is shorter than Urmah fur?
Yes, Marans will have mostly short fur that is as soft as velvet. The skin is tough, about as tough as full-furred Urmah. The skin can also sweat like humans, making Marans better than Urmah at endurance sports. Marans will have even better reflexes than Urmah, because of their enhanced psychic abilities, they will be able to react to others as soon as the intention to move is made. Their muscles will have even more twitch capability than Urmah, and their tails grant them more balance like Urmah tails.
Wow, it's hard to imagine faster reflexes than cats.
You can see why martial nuts like Lord Riga and the Urmah King are excited, right?
Yes, I can.
Anyway, standard Marans can live between 150, if they don't take good care of themselves, and 200 years without technological assistance.
How long can they live with technological assistance?
Well, if they are rich and reverse their age, then the longest a standard Maran can live is around 1,200 years.
Wow.
Marans mate more like humans do than Urmah do. They don't require smell to mate, and they have a lot more control over themselves. But there is a catch. Marans mate for life, so they better choose a life mate carefully. Changing life mates is a painful process for a Maran, but Marans with life mates are able to feel what the other person feels and communicate telepathically with them. This makes for closer bonds between the life mates, and these bonds will grant a 30% increase in consciousness. This will increase dexterity, speed, accuracy, and mental abilities.
Wait, so you're telling me that if I were to get married to a Maran that I would get smarter?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Quite a bit smarter and faster.
Wow.
Ha! You think that is good? When you realize that you can feel both your feelings and your partner's feelings while being intimate. Well, let's just say that the phrase, Marans mean love, makes a lot of sense. Marans are very gifted psychically and have a variety of psychic abilities, but they are a balance between a logical species and an emotional one. They can feel emotions extremely well as tegatans, but they can also control emotions much better than most humans. They will be less prone to emotional illness and can even stop their libidos if they so desire. They can block others from entering their minds without permission. Some particularly talented Marans can even move around small objects using telekinesis. Don't underestimate this ability, as the ability to deflect a gun that is pointed at you even a tiny bit is very helpful.
That makes sense.
Standard Marans will have slightly longer fingers than humans, making them more dexterous, and they don't have claws. Standard Marans also don't need to sleep as much as a human, requiring only about 6 hours of sleep per day. Their night sight will be similar to Urmah night vision, with the nocturnal Marans being especially good at seeing in the dark. Marans can also see into the ultraviolet bandwidth of light, enabling them to actually see scent trails. This is useful as Marans will not have as good of a sense of smell as Urmah or dogs, but it will be better than humans. However, with their enhanced sight, Marans can hunt just as well as an Urmah. Some Marans, like me, have advanced hearing too, and can hear as well as a bat.
Wow, can you use echolocation?
With training, yes. Marans like me can see in the dark by clicking their tongue, nearly as well as my nocturnal sister Mara can see with her eyes. When it comes to taste, most Marans have tongues and tastes similar to humans, but some Marans have tongues with papillae like cats, and they will be able to detect rotten meat better than humans can. Those Marans cannot enjoy sweet food, though, since they cannot taste sweet flavors, much like cats.
I can't imagine living without chocolate.
Mara will definitely have human taste buds. She insists on being able to enjoy fruit and chocolate. Anyway, Marans can eat omnivore diets like humans, so both plants and animals. They have more efficient metabolisms and will only eat about as much as an average human, even though standard Marans will be around 200-300 pounds.
How tall will they be?
Marans are on the taller side with height similar to Urmah, at around 8 feet tall, plus or minus 2 feet. They are also a little lighter than Urmah. All Marans will be born with the ability to go into suspended animation without needing to inject chemicals, which keep their blood from crystallizing in cryogenic sleep. This is especially useful for a spacefaring race that may be fighting in space. If the hull gets breached, rooms can be sealed, and the Marans inside will go into suspended animation instead of dying.
That's useful.
It is. The only downside is we will need to be careful that we don't accidentally hibernate in really cold climates. Going into torpor at unintended times is something we will need to watch out for. Moving on to the strong draconic Marans, who will be most of the frontline soldiers. These Marans will have horns and be more efficient at manifesting like dragons, although they won't be quite that efficient.
What is manifesting?
Another word for manifesting is luck, or the ability to shape reality according to your will. I'll go into depth on manifesting in my next lecture series as well. Anyway, draconic Marans will need to sleep around 10 hours a day, which is still less time than an Urmah, but more than a human. They won't need to sleep more as they get older like dragons either, because they don't keep growing like dragons. But draconic Marans can still live for over 1,000 years without technological assistance.
1,000 years? That's a really long time.
Yes, dragons live for a long time. They are also very strong, and draconic Marans will also be even stronger than Urmah. Pound for pound, Marans will be 1.5 to 2 times as strong as an Urmah. Big draconic Marans like the king, who will be 15 feet tall at the tip of his horns, will be twice as strong as an elite sentinel Urmah warrior like Therak. The king versus Therak would be like a parent versus a child, and those are the king's words, not mine. Did I mention that the Urmah king is very excited about his next incarnation as a Maran?
Does the king like being a warrior?
Oh yes, he excels at that. Even pretty boy draconic Marans, like the black one shown here, will be as strong as Therak. Draconic Marans mate more like dragons do, but instead of laying an egg every 10 years, they can lay an egg once a year, and they start around age 30.
Do you lay eggs, Rakshara?
Yes, I do. Mara won't. She is a standard Maran with perfect memory, or at least that is her first life as a Maran. Her second life will be a draconic Maran like the Urmah High King.
Perfect memory?
Yes. It's similar to photographic memory on Earth. It's an Urmah trait that is in some black cats. Marans can also choose whether or not to have it before they are born, but I recommend you have a very good emotional tolerance and control if you do.
Why don't these other guys have wings like you?
Wings are something people can choose before they are born to have or not have. I can only glide with these wings, like Link in Breath of the Wild with his paraglider. They are fun, but they also make me want warmer temperatures, or I have to wear special wing cloaks. Draconic Marans will have skin as tough as Kevlar. Some will even have parts of their skin that have scales that are as tough as tempered steel, and with their standard Kevlar-like skin underneath those scales. Draconic Marans will have horns and claws as tough as sentinel blades. Their claws on their fingers are not retractable. Their nails are more like talons, making draconic Marans noticeably less dexterous than a human, unlike their standard Maran cousins who will be significantly more dexterous than a human.
How do standard Marans have so much more dexterity?
That comes from the gray genes giving Marans slightly longer fingers than humans. Have you seen how long the fingers are for concert pianists?
Yeah, they have really long fingers to reach all those piano keys.
Exactly. It's like that. Draconic Marans have strong tails that are as mobile as an elephant's trunk. We can pick up things or even people with our tails.
That's cool.
Do you like the picture? What would dating be without a little humor? Unfortunately, because Marans are targeted by the first shadow, we have to be very careful about the genes that we allow into our bloodline. There is a gene called the vasopressin allele that is being spread by the first shadow, and it has infiltrated many species, including almost half of the humans on Earth. This allele causes infidelity in humans, and it is very dangerous to Marans, as it can allow the first shadow to manipulate people's thoughts and feelings. For example, Kirin is a serious threat to the Karina hive. In the future potentials, Lyran defeated one of the hive queens that was trying to steal Mara's cubs. Unfortunately, Lyran had this allele. And in the future potentials, the first shadow was trying to convince Lyran to do terrible things to me so that Lyran would get kicked out of the family compound.
What did it try to get Lyran to do?
Our guides were trying to give Lyran a prophetic dream warning him of the potential where he could harm me by choking me. But the first shadow twisted the dream by having me seem like I enjoyed what Lyran was doing to me.
That's awful.
We had to put a stop to this, and the solution was to remove the allele from Lyran. So Marans will have to do a DNA test for everyone who is interested in dating a Maran. Bonds will not be allowed for anyone who might be under the influence of the first shadow. We will institutionalize Maran matchmaking services. Marans can bring suitors to get their DNA tested. These matchmaking services will ensure the genetic diversity of Marans, especially for about the first 10 or so generations. We don't want Marans to inbreed with other Marans that may have a similar ancestor, as that could cause genetic issues. The Maran matchmaking services will also make sure that all Marans are accounted for and that none get stolen by the Carina hive. We have to support each other and make sure no one gets kidnapped. Now we will talk about some of the species who we can mate with. Essassani, like Bashar, are a hybrid species between humans and greys. Marans also have human and grey, and so we will be able to mate with species like the Essassani. Essassani really are a special people. When we looked at the future potentials of Marans with Essassani, we were shown a delightful Essassani girl who was looking for a Maran mate. They have the ability to see auras in exquisite detail, and she was able to find a Maran boy who matched her aura. She then proceeded to have her DNA tested and verified by the Maran matchmaking services, and then tried to contact the boy. The boy's Maran mother found out about it and told him to give her a chance. They went out on a date together, and the girl proceeded to very logically try to explain why she thought she was a good match to the boy. The boy thought she was kind of weird and socially awkward, but he was amazed by her intellectual abilities. Then the girl connected to the boy in the same way greys can connect with each other telepathically, and showed the boy how he looked to her with his aura and what she looked like with her aura. The beautiful interplay of their spiritual lights was so captivating that the boy fell in love on the spot and subconsciously formed a Tegeton bond with her.
Ah, that's so sweet.
It was adorable. We welcome grey hybrids in particular as Maran mates, as we value the balance between logic and emotion as being critical to peace in our galaxy, and the grey genes in Marans help us to keep our heads in stressful situations. The grey genes are also useful if a Maran female doesn't want to have kids, because she can simply turn off her desire. Mara will be mated with Lyran, and I will have Gromth as my mate. So obviously Marans can mate with Urmah. Male Urmah will be able to mate with female Marans most of the month, as the female Maran simply needs more estrogen than progesterone to give off the scent which causes Urmah males to be inspired to mate. However, this constant emission of musk can cause some issues in Urmah society, because these urges can be so powerful that they are more like the compulsion caused by a strong addiction. Forcing others to feel such strong compulsions is very inconsiderate, so female Marans will be required to wear no-scent pads.
No scent pads?
Yes, Panthera Urmah manufacture them. It's kind of like female pads on Earth, but it's loaded with a kind of unscented Febreze. These pads will be able to keep Urmah from going a bit crazy. But if an Urmah male gets too close to the female, it can cause issues. For example, there was a future potential where one of the boy cubs from the Riga clan came over and smelled Mara's crotch while she was doing her laundry. The cub then got a pink thing poking out of his pants that he didn't know what to do with. The cub's mother at first started to berate Mara for not using high-dose birth control, but then she realized Mara can't use high-dose birth control because she is Maran. These kinds of issues will crop up, Male Marans will also be able to mate with female Urmah on their heats, but it will probably be more common for male Urmah to pursue female Marans because even though Marans look a bit exotic to Urmah, there is something about the female Marans, their low, constant scent, that makes the female Marans attractive to male Urmah. This image doesn't do the size difference between an Alpha Draconis and a Maran Justice. Having a dragon as a mate can be, daunting might be a good word. On average, dragons are about 2 to 3 times the height of a Maran. Standard Marans won't be able to handle such a mate. This is solely a match for the draconic Maran. Alpha Draconi are appealing for draconic Marans because they are one of the very few species that live longer than us, and we do not have to endure the shattering pain of losing the psychically bonded partner of a shorter-lived species. The Alpha Draconi are also not scared of the end of the psychic bond. They are so mentally strong that the loss of the bond is something they can endure without too much trouble. Although it may be one of the few times in their life that they cry. Dragons have the ability to set what the sex of a future Alpha Draconi will be by the temperature that the eggs are kept in. Alpha Draconi regulate their population down by having more males than females. Since Alpha Draconi require meat to eat, having fewer of them keeps them from eating more than planets can provide. But this makes for many Alpha Draconi either not having a mate or being driven to go to the regressive dragons to find a mate. However, regressive Alpha Draconi females make their suitors fight each other to the death for the right to mate with her.
That's awful.
It's not a good situation. So there may be a number of Alpha Draconi males that will happily accept a draconic Maran as a mate. The increase in their abilities certainly helps. Some Alpha Draconi women may even tolerate an Alpha Draconi male having a Maran mistress because of the increased abilities the Maran psychic bond grants him. A side effect of being mated with a Maran is Alpha Draconi may become more gregarious. In one future potential, an Alpha Draconi brought his Maran mate and his kids to see his parents. He had all his kids gather in his hands and then launch them into the air. The Alpha Draconi's parents were mortified, thinking that such frail beings wouldn't be able to withstand such forces. But to their surprise, the draconic Maran kids just glided down in utter delight and ran back to their father wanting to be launched again.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yes, we thought so too. Older Alpha Draconis who sleep a lot also love little Maran kids climbing up their backs. It makes them feel more alive and connected to the world. And now for the matchup I'm sure you're most interested in. Yes, Marans can and will mate with humans. Standard Maran males will be particularly attractive to human females, as the standard Maran are quite frankly physically intimidating when compared to human males, and yet they are also more emotionally available, ensuring that you feel safe, knowing that all that power is dedicated to loving you. Plus, they know what you want without you having to tell them. The poor human boys won't even have a chance. Oh well. Aside from all the things which are typically considered attractive, humans are attractive to standard Marans because they have a similar lifespan to standard Marans.
Huh? I thought you said standard Marans live between 150 and 200 years.
Yes, that is how long humans live.
Not on Earth, it isn't.
Well, you're right. On Earth a long time ago, humans were given many different varieties of plants that could keep you alive for much longer, but you got so greedy over them that you drove them all to extinction. And now with your farming practices taking the nutrients out of your food and all of the stress that you put on your people, well, let's just say it's no surprise to us that humans on Earth aren't well. Anyway, since there are so many humans, we will not encourage too many human Maran pairs because it may dilute the gene pool with too many human genes. We hope you understand that the Maran matchmaking services will be very picky about the humans that are allowed to date Marans. As Mara said in the beginning of this video, You will have to be very loving, competent, and emotionally intelligent to be qualified. That concludes what we have to say about Marans. By the way, Chapter 9 of my memoir, Guardians of the Blade, is called Bite Me, and it was the first dream that I had when Kieran had us remember our past lives as Theric and Nyra. It was Theric's most important memory. In that chapter, Theric thought Nyra might take revenge on him, but she did not. She thought about how killing Theric might grant her more freedom briefly, but then she quickly realized that she didn't want to do that. He was trapping her at first, but he was much kinder to her as time went on. They both had lived millions of lives, but their love for each other was more powerful than any other romance they had ever experienced. The souls of Nyra that are out there may want to see what kind of man Theric was, to see what kind of man they are looking for subconsciously. That is it for this introduction video. Later, Earthlings. And don't forget to live rightly.
I gaze up at the stars, feeling lost in the night. Memories of home in the soft moonlight. Whispers of a past where I used to belong. And tonight I'm just a dreamer, where did I go wrong? Take me back to the place where my heart feels whole. Underneath the starlit sky, I long for my soul.